Well, hello everyone, welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MIgardener channel. I hope you all are going to enjoy this episode because we're going to try to make the best of it, and I'm going to really have a good time filming this one for you all because it's going to be answering a question that keeps coming into my inbox. Luke, when do you plan on starting seeds? Well, it's a little bit of a frustration for me because there's one reason why I've not been starting my seeds yet, and I'll show you that. But normally we start seeds in early to mid-March, and if we're really feeling optimistic and the weather's looking great, we'll start in by really late February. That way we have nice mature plants to move outside into the greenhouse or directly into the ground come early to mid-April. And we generally are hoping to be completely out of any greenhouses or grow lights by that time so that we can be in the ground and off to the races. So let me show you the biggest reason why we have not yet started our seeds. So this is why we have not yet planted our seeds. You see, here in Michigan, we've been having some very, very unseasonable weather. Now, a lot of you might think, well, it's still technically winter. Yes, that's true. It is still technically winter, and you still definitely will expect here in Michigan to be getting cold weather at some point during the year, at least until probably mid-April. And we've even had freak frosts and sometimes even a rare snow in April. The thing is that by this time, generally, we don't have any snow coverage, and anything we do get is kind of, it's a very freak occurrence. And so there's a natural warming up kind of cycle occurring where if you look at the 10-day forecast, it might dip down and go up, but it's generally a climbing pattern. The problem is we are not in that climbing pattern yet, and it's very rare that it's happened this late. And the big problem is all this snow. This has been the biggest problem because, much like the Antarctic, what happens in the Arctic Circle is that the reason why it stays frozen almost every day of the year is because the sun does not have enough, there's not enough energy to melt the snow to melt all the snow cover, because most of that energy is bounced away. The white reflects so much of the light and energy that it basically acts as a giant mirror. And so in areas that can melt, it actually will absorb the sun's rays and it will begin to hold that heat in and radiate it outwards. The problem is if you only have a little bit of a region uncovered from snow, it's not going to really do anything. So right here in Michigan, we have about 95% snow coverage. That's 5% of the state is without snow. I don't really care what that does. You have the Great Lakes, which hold temperature, and most of them are still frozen. You have the land mass, which is a great thermal mass source to absorb energy, and most of that has snow on it. So there's really nothing to absorb any energy at all, meaning that the reason why I have not started my seeds is because that warming up cycle is not going to happen anytime soon. And I hate to break it to all you Michiganders or people in the Great Lakes region, but it's just not going to happen anytime soon. Now, it does begin to happen more rapidly as the southern states begin to, begin to warm up, and it begins to push that snow coverage further and further north. But here in Michigan, there's still plenty of states south of us that still have snow as well. So it's working its way here, but I basically say that I don't start seeds until the snow is gone. And by gone, I mean the snow that has been there most of winter has vanished. And see, the problem is that there's still so much snow coverage here. We could have a day in the 50s and there still would be snow. We have about 6 to 7 inches of snow on the ground right now, and as you can see, we're getting more snow. And there's little places where there's a little bit of grass patches where there's been kind of drifting and stuff blowing away, but the average here is right around 6 to 7 inches. So you could get a day in the 50s and there still would be snow left. So that's why we've not yet started our seeds. And I do think it's a great lesson to show you all, and why it's frustrating for me, but why I'm also bringing this episode to you rather than doing something on the indoor gardening series is I think because so many people have sent pictures of them starting seeds and asking me when they should start their seeds, I think it's a very valuable lesson that you cannot just go off of a calendar. You can't say, this is my first frost date, this is my last frost date, this is when I get to start seeds indoors, or anything like that. Because the fact of the matter is you can go off of a calendar, but until you get connected with the elements and understand why things are the way that they are and the kind of cycles that occur, you're going to be basically throwing a dart blind, and your chances of success are slim to none. And you might get lucky, but the fact of the matter is you'll get unlucky far more often. And that's one of the biggest discouraging factors for beginning gardeners is failure. And I can't tell you just how simple it is to reduce failure or to increase success, to be a little more optimistic. And it's just to wait. If you're patient, the fact of the matter is that if I started plants outdoors, but I started plants indoors, the only difference between those two is if the indoors plants were not stressed in any way, shape, or form, they'd be about 3 to 5 weeks ahead of the ones that I planted outdoors. Now again, that key word is stressed. The reason why I don't start my stuff indoors is because they would be stressed. I don't have enough space, I don't have enough lights, and the fact of the matter is if I can't allow, a full month of growth, you've seen what the stuff does in a full month. If I have more than a full month, my stuff is going to be far too large and far too mature. In 1 month, our tomato plants downstairs were already growing and starting to flower. Okay, our lettuce was fully mature and ready to harvest. We've had just fully grown radishes in a month. Stuff grows so fast that if you don't have the space for it, and you don't have the space to up pot and keep moving it up, or you don't have the luxury of having a heated greenhouse, you're stuck with it and it's in that pot. And there's really nothing that you can do besides just wait for the weather conditions to change. And so I always stress that starting indoors is not as great as everyone makes it out to seem. Sure, it's great, but it's only great if it's implemented correctly. If you just wing it, chances are your plants are going to be very stressed. And the thing about stressed plants is you can't unstress them. Once a tomato plant has been stunted or stressed, it will carry that stress throughout its entire life cycle. And that means that you're going to have less yield, it's going to be slower growing. And yes, when you plant a tomato seed directly in the ground, chances are it's not only going to be healthier, but it's also going to outgrow that plant that you started indoors if it was stressed. And so, yeah, we won't start anything until snow coverage here in Michigan gets to be about 10 to 15% at most, because the fact of the matter is that until you get all that snow off, it's just going to hold the cold in. It's just going to insulate the ground, and you're really not going to get any help from random warm-ups. It has to happen naturally, and it has to happen kind of cyclically and begin to warm up. And yes, we are looking for a very cold spring ahead of us, and probably a pretty mild summer based on the past summers that I've lived through, and just kind of noticing those patterns. I think we're going to be for a really cold summer. I shouldn't say cold, very mild, and which is good for those that enjoy the weather. But I can definitely say that spring is going to be a little bit later this year, and so we probably won't get our stuff started until I'd say probably late March, early April or so, and that's just because it's better to be patient. So, all right, I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. I hope you all will comment down below with things that you are looking forward to seeing in the coming growing season. I was really hoping to have seeds started by now, but Mother Nature had other stuff in store for me. So I just got to roll with the punches and make the best of it. So I hope you all have enjoyed so far. We definitely will keep the content coming out, and I'll catch you all later. This is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow big or go home. I'll catch you all later. See ya. Bye.